I'll be using a couple of mini stamps to create this card. Stay tuned to watch how. Hello and welcome to Creative Coloring with Erum. I'm Erum Tasneem and today I will be using a couple of mini stamps to create my card. And I will also be using a technique that I have covered before, the Lazy Man's watercolor version. So today for my project, I'll be using Adore You add-on stamp and the Berry Branch stamp, plus the coordinating dies for both the stamps. And I'll also be using the Cherry Blossom Gradient cardstock. I'm using the Obsidian ink to stamp the flower from the Adore You add-on stamp on pink diamond cardstock, which is the lightest from the Cherry Blossom Gradient cardstock set. For the leaves, I will use the Rock Collection paper pack. I picked out this light colored pattern paper to stamp a few leaves on. For this too, I will be using the Obsidian ink. Now this is something I've shared previously, the Lazy Man's watercolor version, where you use colored cardstock to add a bit of watercolor to as stippling, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. It looks like you actually watercolored the entire image and you really don't have to put in much effort. Just make sure not to use a lot of water. You already have a base layer on there, that is the colored cardstock that you are using. But if you want your stippling or your watercolor layers to be more prominent, then remember to dry between layers. Here you can see that I'm adding more color to the flower, but my pigment is just a smidge more concentrated or darker than the first time around. So you will still be able to see the lighter pigment on the image in addition to the slightly darker stippling that I'm adding now. So here you can see how my image looks like, both the flowers. As you can see, there are two distinct layers of watercolor on there, one light and one slightly dark. I only added 2 layers of color. You could go ahead and add more if you want to. You can even add splatters to this. Next, I'll use the Illusion Triangles 3D embossing folder and run a panel through my die cutting machine. This is going to be my card front. I'll adhere this onto my card base. But before doing that, I will use Silver Lake dye ink and a large blending tool and apply a bit of ink onto this panel with a very gentle hand. I just want a bit of gray color on there and the design to be visible. Next, I will adhere a pattern paper from the Rock Collection, a strip of it onto the mat that I will adhere on top of my card front. But I would suggest you do this after you add black paint splatters, if you are adding black paint splatters, that is, because I had to mask this off and then add my black paint splatters before adhering my flowers and my leaves on there. Once all the images were adhered, I stamped the sentiment from the sentiment strips to stamp set. Then I used white gel pen to add details to my flower. Just a few dots at the flower center, and I also used a black marker to darken my flower center. After this, I figured the berries looked kind of unfinished. I added pink watercolor to these too, just to balance the pink out. Next, I adhered the mat onto the card front with foam tape, and that's it. My card is ready and it is looking so pretty. Especially in person, it looks like a lot of work went into it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I do have a link to the previous Lazy Man's watercolor video in the description in case you want to have a look at that and in case you missed it the last time. That card is a little bit extensive. This one's a little simpler. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Hello there, did that video just spark your creativity? And do you want more project ideas and inspiration videos too? Well, if you do, please make sure that you subscribe to the Alternate YouTube channel. Also, make sure that you do click that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.